All right, good morning, everybody. Just a little information, a little background information. My name is Farrell Surrett. I'm with Recycled Cycles of Texas, and today we're at Rockstar Energy Bike Park giving our second free introductory into bicycle mechanics clinic. And the last weekend was the very first time we did it, and we covered proper handlebar adjustment and how to properly set your seat height. Today we are going to cover how to change a flat tire. So there are many ways that you can change a flat tire. You can, number one, you can replace the tube. Number two, you can repair the tube. If you choose to repair the tube, you can buy a tube repair kit. This is a Part Tool VP-1 patch kit. It's got enough stuff in it to probably patch your tire maybe 4 or 5 times, depending on, you know, how many patches are inside it, how big the hole is. It really works. It's good to have in a tool bag or in a backpack when you're out on the road. It just saves yourself. It doesn't take much space. And like I said, when you're out on the road or on a trail and you're riding your bicycle and you get a flat tire, it's really good to have. Today we're covering, basically we're focusing on a BMX bike, as you can tell. There was a couple of questions last weekend about how to properly tighten your chain, how to remove the wheel. I covered that individually with the people that were in the class. So today we're going to cover, like I said, we're going to cover how to actually remove a wheel, remove the tire. So remove the wheel, we're going to remove the tire, we're going to take the tube, here's the tube, we're going to take the tube out of the tire, and we're going to put a brand new one in it. There are various tools you can purchase. This is Pedro's tire tools. They basically help you remove the tire off the rim. Here's just a generic brand. They come and they snap together. We can teach you how to use them, how to utilize them. If you don't have those, a trick that I've learned is you can use spoons. And then you say, spoons, really? So yeah, but if you use the back end of the spoon, the paddle end of the spoon, it will allow you to get between the tire and the tube, or the tire and the wheel, and not damage the tube anymore. Because if you use like a screwdriver or another sharp object, a lot of times you'll actually damage the tube that you're putting inside of the tire, and you don't want to do that because you just will constantly be repairing everything. So with that being said, let's get into the art of replacing the tire and the tube, or replacing the tube. All right, so now my wife is going to laugh at me because she tells me that half the battle is to actually get the GoPros to work. So we've used our 15mm wrench. We've loosened the nuts. Now we're going to take the chain off. Let's do this way. So now we have removed the chain, and you just slide the wheel backwards. So now we've removed the wheel. The bicycle is you can look it over, check it out, make sure your cables are tight, make sure the brake shoes are tight. You're looking and seeing if there's any damage. That goes to the safety aspect of it, because you always want to just kind of give your bicycle the once over, because if you don't, sometimes you can a brake cable can be loose, or a wheel nut can be loose. A frame can be, and if you're in a competitive situation and that happens, then you're going to have failure. When you have failure, you crash and it hurts. Something that we need to cover, let's backtrack a little bit, safety equipment. When you ride your bicycle, always wear your safety equipment. And when I say safety equipment, you know, if you're out in the neighborhood, you want to wear a helmet. It's preferably if you wear a long sleeve shirt or long pants if you're doing any sort of off-road bicycling. If you're on a track, it's required. If you're riding the neighborhood trails, it would be beneficial to have long pants on and a long sleeve shirt, simply for the fact that if you crash, it keeps you from getting so scraped up. But number one thing, you definitely need to have a helmet on. Concussions aren't fun. Broken teeth and stitches aren't fun. I know that for a fact. So please just remember to wear your safety equipment. Now let's go back to the task at hand of actually replacing the tube. So we've taken the tire off. Here's the tire's off. And now I'm going to get, so now I'm going to get spoons. So if you take the spoon and you put it in between the tire and the tube, you can lift up and put your tire or your spoon right there. So if you see, you've removed the tire from the rim using the spoon, and it's in place. And so if you go a little bit further and you pop it over, now you've taken that tire off and you just slide it. You slide it all the way around. And then once you get so far, you can take your fingers, just take the other, and now we have taken the tire off the wheel. And now we're going to remove the valve cap. It's always important that you keep the valve caps on, because that way you don't lose air pressure. Sometimes you'll lose air pressure, the stem's not tight or whatever. So now we have removed the tube from the tire. So now there's nothing there. So if you just take the wheel or the tire off the rim all the way, now we're going to inspect that there's no thorns or glass or any other object that may have punctured the tire. And as we're doing this, we're running our fingers on the inside of the tire to see if there's anything sharp. So this appears to be nothing there. Now you're gonna look at your rim. You're gonna see that there's this is called rim tape. You're gonna make sure that the rim tape is over the spokes, because the spokes can also puncture the tube from the inside. So the rim tape seems to be in place. I'll come over here. And how you determine the size of tube that you need, on the size of the tire, or on the side of the tire, it's going to tell you what you need to know. This is a 20 by 2.125 tire. So you're going to need a tube that's that size to go inside of there. And so I have a 20 by 1.5 to 1.95. That'll actually work inside of the tire. It won't be an issue. So you can see that the tube is flat. You really don't want to go inside flat. So take your air pump and you take the valve stem off. It's important that you take your valve stem off. Can't put air in it if you got a valve stem on it. So just give it a couple pumps. So now we got it. It's not all the way full, but it's firm, and that way it's going to go inside the tire real good. So let's move this out of the way, and so now we're going to, in reverse order, we're going to set the rim inside of the tire. We're going to do one side of it. So now we got one half of the tire on the rim. We're going to take our new tube, and we're going to find the valve stem hole, and we're going to slide the valve stem inside of that hole, just like that. You take your tire over it, and now you tuck the tire inside of, or excuse me, tuck the tube inside of the tire. So now you want to make sure that the valve stem is up. The tube is totally inside of the tire, and now you're going to just take the edges and slide the edges around. Just use your thumbs, and you'll see that it just pops in place. So now you look around, you make sure that the tire is set in place. Everything seems to be okay. You take your air pump, and if you look to the side of the tire, it's going to tell you what to inflate the tire to. So this one says inflate it to 35 psi. So on your tire gauge, or on your tire pump, you're going to have a gauge. So usually you have a dial or something. We're going to do it to, like I said, 35 psi. So just a couple of pumps. It's not going to take much. Okay, there we go. We're at 35 psi. We're going to take the air pump off. We're going to reinstall the valve cap. Like I said, it's important that you do that. The tire seems to be, the tire set itself properly inside the wheel, and the tube is holding air. Now we're ready to reinstall it. So when you reinstall it, it's basically, we're going to go reverse from removing it. So we're going to slide it in place. This time I'm going to install the brake arm on this side, because it does have a coaster brake. It's a Phillips or flathead screwdriver, and I think it's a 6mm nut on the back end of it. So now we're going to make sure that we're going to put the chain back on. So just watch yourself, make sure you don't pinch your fingers, and you put it back on the front, and then you pull it back. So you're going to want to make sure that you have your chain tight. And so let's get our 15mm wrench again. And we're going to go, remember, righty tighty, lefty loosey. So we're going to rotate it to the right. I'm going to snug it up a little bit, and then we're going to tighten this side up. So we're going to spin it to the right, and it's going to tighten the wheel up, and we're going to give it a crank. Brake works. There we go. Now we're going to reinstall the, here we go. So now, go backwards. We're good to go. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. You can send me a question through direct messaging on Instagram. You can private message me on Facebook or Twitter. You can see me. You can see everything about. You can see this video. You can learn about the Recycled Cycles of Texas, the charity that I run. You can learn about everything. You can watch the video on all social media platforms. If you just search RCOTX or you type in Recycled Cycles of Texas on Google, everything will populate. I'd appreciate it if you'd watch the video. We have the video from last weekend. Next weekend I'm going to be out of town, so I'm going to try to teach the class next weekend strictly online. So with that being said, thank you very much for watching. I hope this is insightful and gives you a little knowledge. I'm gonna get the camera right now, and I'm gonna come up here and we're gonna show the things that I did. So when I said that we needed to adjust the brake arm, you can see this is the brake arm, and this is the little bracket that holds it on. This is the axle nut, and this is the 15mm wrench. It goes on there, and again, righty tighty, lefty loosey, so it's tight. It's where it needs to be. Right here you have the this is called a V-brake, and to release the V-brake, you squeeze the brakes together. All right, so now we're going to put it in place. That's how you release your V-brake, so you can remove the rear wheel. If you have any questions, the tire's holding air, so that's great. If you have any questions, again, please don't hesitate to send me a message, or you can come out to the park on most Sundays when they're giving the new rider training clinics. I'll be out here teaching the basics of bicycle mechanics, and I appreciate it. Again, my name is Farrell Surrett, and I'm with Recycled Cycles of Texas.